As the Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan will be facing a no-trust vote that could see him thrown out of office in just a short while from now. His PTI party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, effectively lost its majority in the 342-member assembly last week when a key coalition partner, MQM, quit the government and joined forces with the opposition. Pakistan's Punjab's governor, Chaudhry Mohammad Sarwar, has been removed, and crucially, the Interior Minister of Pakistan, Sheikh Rasheed, has come out and said that Imran Khan might be arrested if he loses the trust vote. Meanwhile, security has been beefed up across Islamabad, especially in front of the Pakistan National Assembly, ahead of that trust vote, which will be underway in just a short while from now. All right, we will try and connect with Waqas Azim in just a bit, but also joining us is Dr. Zakir Hussain. He's a former senior research fellow of the Indian Council of World Affairs. Thank you very much, Dr. Hussain, for being with us on NDTV. I want to begin by asking you, it's literally going to be any time now that, the assembly will be convened and that vote will be underway in just a short while from now. How is New Delhi looking at these developments?
Hello?
Yes, Dr. Hussain, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you. Can you repeat the question?
I said in just a short while from now, the assembly would be convened in Pakistan and the no-trust vote against the Imran Khan government would be underway. How is New Delhi looking at these developments?
We always support the democratic process, and this is our motto. And though we don't intervene in any country's internal affair, but we support democratic process, being a democratic country. But on the other hand, army is there. Pakistan is a concept. We have to deal with Pakistan as a concept, and that concept, what Pakistan is doing. Either it is army or democracy. Somehow, if democratic government comes, relation improves somehow.
Right.
But army is the main contender in all these things.
Sure. Dr. Hussain, I'm going to interrupt you just there because I want to try and go across to our reporter at Ground Zero, Waqas Azim. I think he's back with us on the phone line. Waqas Azim, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. All right. Can you bring us up to speed with the latest? What's happening right now?
Yeah, the National Assembly session is just about to begin, and the opposition members and the government members are arriving in the National Assembly floor. At the moment, joint opposition has 176 members, and the 22 members of the deviator members of the PTI. Now the opposition has a collective number of 189, and the opposition is also claiming that it could go to 200 members of the opposition. The session is just about to begin, and the members are talking with each other. The opposition members, Tariq Bashir Cheema, that was the Federal Minister of Housing, and the Chaudhry Saleh Hussain, that is also the member of PMLQ, is also with the opposition. They have talked with the reporters and said that they will vote out Prime Minister Imran Khan. Now the situation is becoming interesting because their main ally and the leader of PMLQ is the candidate of Punjab Chief Ministership, but their federal members of the National Assembly are now in opposition benches. At the moment, at Beach Chowk, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf workers are also protesting, and law enforcement agencies and police are deployed, and they have arrested about 3 members of the PTI that are ladies, and they have taken them to the prison. It is also said that former President Asif Ali Zardari has also talked with the reporters, and he said that they are confident that they will vote out Prime Minister Imran Khan. But he is also waiting for any surprise from the government.
Right. Okay. So you're saying that the numbers are in fact stacked against him in a house where the majority stands at 172. What you're picking up is that 189 to 200 could be actually the tally against Imran Khan, which is a very clear vote in favor of the opposition. I also want to ask you about what Sheikh Rasheed, your Internal Affairs Minister, has just had to say. He's actually said that Imran Khan could be arrested. In fact, he said that Imran Khan will be arrested if he loses the trust vote.
Interior Minister Sheikh Rasheed has just talked with the reporters in the Parliament House, and he said that popularity of the Prime Minister Imran Khan is increasing day by day. इमरान खान उनका ये भी कहना था कि इमरान खान जब बाहर निकलेगा तो उससे ये गिरफ्तार करेंगे. तो इनका मतलब ये था कि अगर इमरान खान के खिलाफ आज वोट आउट हो जाता है और अब वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर नहीं रहते तो हो सकता है कि जो नई गवर्नमेंट आए दे कैन अरेस्ट द former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, if he is voted out. उनका ये भी कहना था कि जब गिरफ्तारी तो मुल्क में एहतजाज की एक नई लहर उठेगी. Means there will be huge protest outside the Parliament House and throughout the country. He was talking about the next election also and said that there is a possibility that the new election may be announced because PTI has 155 members right at the moment and they might resign from the next today.
All right. Waqas Azim, I also want to know from you, you've been reporting that the Assembly the National Assembly is going to convene in just a short while from now. What more is known about, Imran Khan? There was a lot of speculation. उन्होंने पहले indication दी थी कि शायद, वो वोट में participate ना करें, but फिर ये clarification आई कि नहीं वो वोट में participate करेंगे, but क्या वो assembly पहुंच चुके हैं?
नहीं, वज़ीर-ए-आज़म इमरान खान अभी तक नेशनल असेंबली नहीं पहुंचे और उनका इंतजार किया जा रहा है. लेकिन इस प्रकार का जो वजीर खारजा हसन महमूद कुरैशी फॉरेन मिनिस्टर वो अब से थोड़ी देर पहले यहाँ पार्लियामेंट में पहुंचे हैं एंड ही हैज आल्सो टॉक्ड अबाउट द कंस्पिरेसी बाय द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स and said that the opposition is just towing the lines of the United States and the people will not support the opposition agenda.
The point that you were making earlier, Waqas Azim, ki जो शेख रशीद ने कहा है आपके इंटीरियर मिनिस्टर ने कि इमरान खान को अरेस्ट कर सकते हैं if he loses that trust vote. On what grounds can he be arrested? And how is this entire scenario likely to play out? The reason I ask you where Imran Khan is at the moment is because of what Sheikh Rasheed has said.
I don't think that this claim of Mr. Sheikh Rasheed has any substance because at the moment there is no any major case against Imran Khan and like corruption cases, major scandal cases, major anything else because the government has to have any substantial case against Imran Khan, then he might be arrested. But at the moment, he has no case against Imran Khan. So it will be very difficult to arrest Prime Minister Imran Khan if he loses out in the National Assembly today.
You're saying that it will be difficult to arrest him?
Yeah, it's very difficult to arrest him because no doubt he has popularity in the country and he has no any scandal and corruption cases against him.
Can you tell us a little bit about the security situation outside the Pakistan National Assembly? We had very dramatic pictures coming in of a lot of armed police personnel, Pakistan Rangers, the army, etc. deployed outside the assembly. Those are pictures from earlier this morning. But what's the latest?
At the moment, the red zone of Islamabad has been sealed and heavy deployment of law enforcement agencies has been made in the red zone area of Islamabad. Only one road is open for the passenger and the parliamentarian, that is Margala Road coming to the Parliament House. almost half of the dozen checkposts are made, and extra deployments are also made, and no irrelevant person is allowed in the National Assembly and in the red zone area. Every person is being checked at the checkpost, and they are being identified. Their cards are also being checked, and they are then after that they are being allowed to enter into the Parliament House. At the moment, D Chowk, there are some news that at D Chowk some protests are beginning, and some arrests have also been made by the police.
Okay. So arrests are already being made. An entire red zone has been sealed. This, of course, is the latest from Ground Zero in Islamabad outside the Pakistan National Assembly. Thank you very much for joining us on NDTV. We'll keep coming back to you, Waqas Azim, for more updates. Let's now go across to Kalbi Ali, senior reporter, Daily Dawn, joining us from Islamabad. We also have Dr. Zakir Hussain, who is with us from the Indian Council of World Affairs. But Kalbi Ali, to you first. I don't know if you had a chance to listen in to what Waqas Azim was saying. A lot of security has been deployed in anticipation of widespread protests if and when Imran Khan does indeed lose this trust vote. What's the latest that you're picking up?
Well, as Waqas said, the situation in security is not only outside the National Assembly, but almost all the roads leading towards, there are 3-4 roads which lead towards this area, red zone. Only one is very close to the hills. Islamabad has hills around. That is open, and even at that road we have a very strong 3 checkpoints. So getting to that place and coming back was, which really caused me a lot of time.
Sure.
And getting to red zone.
Right. Have a lot of people gathered though, because Imran Khan made this clarion call yesterday evening asking for his supporters to come out on the streets and protest peacefully. Has there been a lot of gatherings seen around Islamabad?
No, actually, since there is no centralized leadership organizing these protests, people themselves, they did come out. We see quite at this entrance of Islamabad, it's called 0 Point. We saw two families standing with posters, and then there were around 2-3 dozen people. Obviously,
so no large crowds?
No large crowd. And it is also because this is the first day of Ramzan, people are fasting, it's also quite hot. And the most important point is that no central leadership is is organizing the protest now.
Okay.
So if they did call up the protest, or they did ask their supporters to gather at that certain point, then only we can expect some large crowd at that place. Now we see.
I want to understand from you, your reaction to the comments that have been made by your Interior Minister, Mr. Sheikh Rasheed, when he says that Imran Khan could be arrested if he loses the trust vote.
This is, for the first time, few things are happening in Pakistani politics, and that one of the few things is that an elected Prime Minister could be ousted in the parliament, through the vote of confidence. If it is successful, it is going to be the first successful vote of confidence in Pakistan. Secondly, there is a strong chance, there are rumors which people might not even speak of, that Imran Khan might denotify General Qamar Bajwa as the army chief. So if it happens, then most probably his call for the protest could have some value. If he is ousted from the assembly, within the assembly, then this call for protest and people protesting outside has no value, has not only any legal value, but actually ethically it is also wrong, because he has been ousted in this through a legal channel. But if something of the other side happens, then these protests do contain some worth value, like we saw in Turkey.
Are elections, Mr. Ali, now imminent? How are you looking at the scenarios after the vote if Imran Khan were to lose?
It is so obvious that he is set to lose.
What are the scenarios that play out then?
So now it is so obvious, but the point is, after he loses and he is no more the Prime Minister, he can, or the PTI can submit their 140 or 145, something like that, resignations to the Speaker, and all of them resign en masse. That could create any kind of a political crisis. But because we have Ramzan now, and soon after Ramzan the national budget is coming up, so it's a very difficult thing that maybe the government, election commission, everybody decides that since the general elections are already due in the tenure of this assembly is set to expire next year, mid of next year, so they might not hold elections for a few months, and then the whole assembly could be. Besides this thing, there are rumors and what people say that in August, September, October, November, in these months, the new Prime Minister could also dissolve the assembly and call for elections.
All right.
So,
those are, of course,
elections are due.
Elections are imminent, and there are different scenarios, of course, that will play out post the vote. But it's interesting that what you're essentially reporting is that the vote going against Imran Khan in a few hours from now is something which is a given. The odds are stacked against him. The numbers are stacked against him. We'll, of course, keep a close watch on all those developments. Thank you very much for joining us on NDTV.